So before we start with the opening verses of Surah Baqarah, I think it's important to align on what is the correct approach or what is the recommended approach for reading the Quran or for understanding the Word of God. And usually, one of the common misconceptions that is found in a lot of people is they tend to think that religion is something that should not be questioned. It should just be accepted as it is.
Yeah.
And interestingly, what we notice in the Quran as we read through it is there are so many places in the Quran where Allah has encouraged questioning and encouraged critical thinking.
Yeah.
So, for example, the one of the basic fundamental tenets of Islam is that there is one God.
Yes.
So, at one point in the Quran, Allah has discussed this in terms of what would happen if there were more than one God. Why is this a fallacy? Why is it not possible?
Okay.
And so as we read, as we will inshallah read across the Quran, there are so many places where questions that regular people would normally consider to be taboo or they would consider to be blasphemy.
Yeah.
Is it is just based on a wrong perception.
Yeah.
Because blasphemy is where somebody makes fun of something, especially in terms of religion or in terms of something which is sacred, specifically of God or his instructions,
Yes.
and ridicules it. Okay, that typically is blasphemy. But otherwise, in terms of having genuine, honest questions,
Yes.
there are no boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
You're saying that regarding religion, we shouldn't have a very strong faith unless it goes along with our understanding and reason.
Partially, yes. I think I would probably frame it in the sense that before a person starts genuinely believing in God,
Yeah.
yes, and believing in the fact that the Quran is the word of God and it has been sent by God.
Yes.
Before that point, I think a person needs to ask all kinds of questions that genuinely concern him or worry him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But once he crosses a threshold and he or she becomes very clear,
yes,
that I do believe in God.
Yes.
After that point, then of course,
you have to accept whatever.
You have to accept whatever God says.
Absolutely. So I think all of us owe it to ourselves to question our beliefs and whatever ideas or beliefs that we hold from a young age. I think we owe it to ourselves that after we reach a certain age, we should question them and analyze them to see whether they are actually true or not.
Absolutely. And I think going back to your original question, thinking about it again, I think it does make a lot of sense in terms of there's a verse in the Quran which says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. Right? So the fact that when we actually read the verses of the Quran,
yes,
in a good, honest, and sincere way, then our belief increases. This is mentioned in the Quran, right? The iman increases.
Yeah.
So, going back to your question, I would say from that point of view, yes. I mean, so there's a basic belief,
yes,
which I was referring to in terms of do you believe in God?
Yes.
So until somebody does, he can ask all kinds of questions.
Yep.
But even once you started believing in God,
Yeah.
then it's a case of maintaining that level of belief.
Yes.
Because then it is no longer, okay, you've probably ticked the box.
Yes.
But for it to be meaningful,
yep,
yeah, everybody's belief level will either increase or decrease.
Yes.
Depending on a number of different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have to keep in mind that God is superior to human beings. So it makes sense that once you have evidentially proven for yourself that this is from God. Whatever He is commanding you or whatever He's telling you must be the truth, whether we can completely understand it or not, because it is from someone who has more understanding, who is the creator of human beings. So it's a given that He will have the wisdom and understanding for all the things that He is telling us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what I was initially referring to was the fact that there's absolutely nothing wrong in having an objective, open mind which is inquisitive. And if you come across, if you encounter a question in your mind,
Yes.
there is no harm in asking it.
Yeah,
That is what the Quran encourages us to do.
absolutely.
Because there's almost rarely anything that you will come across which cannot be answered.
Yes.
There's another verse in the Quran which says, وَلَقَدْ ضَرَبْنَا لِلنَّاسِ فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ. Yes? So Allah has given all kinds of examples for the human being. Now that's a very comprehensive, a verse.
Yeah.
Because it says that almost every kind of thought that will enter our head,
Yeah.
in principle, those things have been addressed in the Quran. So it's a case of how regularly, punctually, and how closely
Yeah.
we study it,
Yeah.
right? Because then we can understand that it answers all the questions that can come to a person's mind, if they're based on from a sincere intention point of view.
Absolutely. Yes.
So with that approach,
Yeah.
we will endeavor to go on our humble journey
Okay.
and try to understand the Quran,
Yeah.
and also discuss whatever we see around us in our lives
Yeah.
to make sense of it,
Yeah.
because the Quran is as applicable today as
Yeah.
it was when it was being revealed on Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
Of course.
and it will remain to be applicable until its existence, until Allah wills.
Yes.